Welcome, Kareem. We're so happy to have you at the Willamette Valley Chamber Music Festival for this summer as our composer in residence.
I'm thrilled to be there.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a composer originally from Damascus, Syria, but I've lived in the Northeast for most of my life at this point. My music is kind of explores those two worlds that I grew up in. You know, sort of a little bit of nostalgia, but a little bit of kind of awareness of where I am and the communities that I'm part of.
Have you spent any time in Oregon in the past?
Yes, I was years ago. I went to the Bend Film Festival in Bend, Oregon, with a film that I was part of, and I had a great time. And what I remember most was a restaurant with all-you-can-eat Dungeness crab, and that was fantastic.
So, are you hoping to experience a little more Dungeness crab?
I wouldn't say no.
It's one of our favorites as well. What are you interested in exploring in the Willamette Valley, since that's new territory for you?
Well, it is new territory. I think I just to see a different part of America. I'm certainly interested in the vineyards and the wineries that are around there and those traditions and learning about their history as well, and also tasting a few bottles of something nice.
So in wine, we hear a lot about terroir and the specifics of the exact location where the grapes have been grown. How do you think your own individual terroir as a human, since you grew up in Syria and then have grown and flourished here in the Northeast as well, how do you think that's impacted you, and how do we hear that in your music?
Yeah, I think it's very much part of my experience, right? And more about the uprooting, right? You know, if you imagine taking a vine from France or wherever, or Italy, and then transporting it someplace and replanting it and see what catches and what doesn't catch, right? So that's been my experience as well. And so I'm always fascinated with things, and maybe a little bit jealous, but things that have remained in place for so long. Recently, we had a family trip to Crete, and we saw a 3,000-year-old olive trees that's still giving olives. And you know, to think about that kind of continuity, which you know, for so many people, they're denied that. You know, when we think about their experiences, either as immigrants or refugees. So in a way that's very much at the heart of what a lot of my music deals with. It doesn't mean it's always you know, serious and you know, intense, but there's always kind of the joy of when you do replant something. You know, how does that vine or the grape respond to the new earth that it's in? You know, and I think that makes for some interesting results.
One of the things we're exploring in this summer's festival is the idea of home and the way we can sort of zoom in and think about home on a very, very personal level, even within our own bodies, and then zoom out. And home can have so many different kinds of meanings on a larger scale as well, whether it's region or homeland or even maybe the planet. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think actually a lot of the pieces that you'll be performing all have some aspect of that. You know, sometimes it's a longing, you know, for home, or what home used to be, right? And it's kind of that we're still fixated on some idea that is now gone, right? You know, so expressing that feeling of having lost something, right? But sometimes it's also coming to terms with that and sort of just celebrating and being grateful for having had that experience or that idea of home. So I think a lot of these pieces certainly explore that feeling in a few different ways.